There are moments in a person's life when the world they thought they understood suddenly shifts, almost like the floor disappearing beneath their feet. And according to those close to the situation, Prince Harry has recently experienced exactly that. Word from the inside says Harry was left stunned after being shown images and details linking Meghan not to him, not to the acting world, not to the humanitarian circles she loves to speak about, but allegedly to Prince Andrew and to a yacht that has raised more questions than answers. Sources claim Harry had no idea that Meghan had ever been anywhere near Andrew before their relationship began. He believed the story he was told, that Meghan had never moved in royal circles, had never brushed shoulders with the aristocracy, and certainly had never been close enough to Andrew to appear in the same social settings. But the alleged yacht connection changed everything. The whispers suggest that Harry could not deny what he saw, and that the shock of discovering Meghan in that world has left him questioning what else he never knew. This is where the story begins, not with a rumor, not with internet chatter, but with the claim that the man who walked away from the royal family may have done so without knowing the full truth about the woman he walked away for. And now, the silence surrounding Meghan's alleged connection to Andrew has become the loudest alarm of all. Because if Andrew was taken down for his associations, why has Meghan's alleged proximity been hidden? And why now does it seem that the truth Harry avoided is finally catching him? Prince Andrew's downfall was swift and brutal. His reputation collapsed almost overnight because of his association with Jeffrey Epstein and the accusations made by Virginia Roberts. Newspapers splashed his face across front pages, broadcasters dissected every movement, and the palace quietly pushed him into the shadows. But here is the strange thing. The press that devoured Andrew has stayed completely silent when it comes to Meghan Markle's alleged ties to the same circle. The palace that rushed to distance itself from Andrew has refused to comment on Meghan's alleged proximity. Not a headline, not an inquiry, not a whisper of concern. Sources inside royal circles say this silence is not accidental. They claim it is deliberate, controlled, and fiercely protected. Because if the public began asking why Meghan appeared in the same orbit, the palace would have to answer questions they are not prepared to face. Questions like, why was Meghan never investigated? Why was her past never scrutinized? Why does Andrew fall but Meghan rises untouched? And, most importantly, who is benefiting from keeping this quiet? The silence itself becomes the first clue. When the loudest scandal of a generation erupts and someone stands untouched, you must ask why. According to sources close to the situation, Prince Andrew has allegedly been confiding to friends about a not-so-secret relationship with Meghan that existed long before Harry ever entered the picture. This claim alone would shake the foundations of everything the public has been told about how Meghan entered the royal family. A story crafted to appear like a fairy tale coincidence. If the alleged connection between Meghan and Andrew is true, then Meghan did not stumble into royal life. She did not arrive as an outsider. She did not have to climb the walls of the monarchy. She was already inside them. Those who defend Meghan insist she never knew Andrew, but those who know Andrew say the opposite. They claim he remembers her clearly. They claim there were interactions, familiarity, and access. They claim Harry was unaware. And if that is true, it explains everything. Why Meghan walked into the royal family with confidence, why protocol never intimidated her, why she behaved as though she outranked those born into royalty, why she believed she could not be denied. Sources say Harry is sickened because the one thing he believed was pure, their beginning, may have been engineered. If Meghan knew Andrew first, then Harry was not the first royal she reached for. He was simply the one who took the bait. This is where the story sharpens. In 2014, photographs surfaced of Meghan aboard a yacht, but not just any yacht. Sources allege that the yacht belonged to social circles tied to Karina Shuliak, Jeffrey Epstein's last known girlfriend. Karina herself stated publicly that she only ever traveled, flew, or sailed with Epstein. If that is true, then the yacht Meghan appeared on connects her directly to the Epstein orbit, not through rumor, but through proximity. The public never questioned it. The palace never acknowledged it. The media never touched it. But those inside the royal machine reportedly did. They examined the photographs. They traced the names. They understood exactly what it meant. And then they buried it, because if Meghan appeared in those circles, it means she was not a naive actress from television. She was not an outsider to power. She was moving among the very people who brought down Andrew. Sources say this is the moment Harry finally stopped denying what others had told him. This was the moment he realized that Meghan's past was not what he believed. And this was the moment the palace knew that if the images ever resurfaced publicly, they would not just reopen Andrew's scandal, they would rewrite Meghan's origin story. If the yacht photographs raised eyebrows, what came next raised alarms. According to legal insiders familiar with the Epstein proceedings, Virginia Roberts allegedly expressed interest in calling Meghan Markle as a witness. Not because Meghan was famous, not because she married Harry, but because, according to those same sources, Meghan was allegedly a past associate of Prince Andrew and would have been around the same environments where Andrew was later accused of behaving improperly. This is not speculation. This is what sources connected to the case insist was discussed. That alone is explosive, because for Meghan to be considered as a possible witness, it means she was known, she was present, she was relevant. You cannot call a stranger to testify. You only call someone who saw or someone who knew. People behind the scenes began asking quiet questions. How did Meghan know Andrew? How often were they in the same spaces? Why was this never addressed publicly? Who hid it, and why? But here is the part no one in the mainstream ever touches. If Meghan had been called, Harry would have been dragged into the case through marriage, and the palace would have been forced to acknowledge Meghan's past associations. That would have detonated both Andrew and Meghan. So, suddenly, everything went quiet. No witness list, no questions, no headlines. The scandal swallowed Andrew and skipped right over Meghan, as though she never existed in that world at all. But she did, and the people who were there remember. To understand how Meghan reached the inner circles of royalty, you have to go back to the end of 2011, when she arrived in Toronto to film Suits. According to those familiar with the social scene, she did not rise slowly or by chance. She was introduced carefully, deliberately, by a man named Marcus Anderson. Marcus was not just a friend. Sources describe him as a fixer, a connector, someone who opened doors that ordinary actors could never walk through. He was linked to Soho House, a private members club known for mixing celebrities, politicians, aristocrats, and wealthy elites away from public eyes. And according to those close to the environment, Marcus did not just introduce Meghan socially. He placed her. He connected her to Jessica Mulroney, high-profile business families, influential socialites, people tied to London's elite. And this is where the puzzle pieces snap together, because it is through these same networks that Meghan allegedly became familiar with people connected to Andrew's world. She was not climbing, she was being elevated. She was not chasing, she was being positioned. She was not discovering high society, she was being ushered into it. Those who watched it happen say Meghan learned quickly how to move in those circles, how to mimic status, how to adopt confidence, how to present herself as belonging. And according to insiders, this is when Meghan began to believe she could reach even higher, not just wealth, not just influence, but royalty itself. Toronto was not a beginning, it was a launch pad. One of the most surprising claims in this story is that Meghan was allegedly friends with Princess Eugenie long before she ever met Harry. Meghan herself has stated this publicly, but the implications were never examined. If Meghan knew Eugenie, then the introduction to Harry was not random, it was not fate, it was not an unexpected romance, it was part of an existing circle, one that already included Andrew and Sarah Ferguson. And this is where things turn even more interesting. Sources say that Fergie, Andrew's former wife, was wary of Meghan, not because of her acting career, not because of her background, but because she recognized ambition when she saw it. Word from people familiar with the situation is that Meghan had allegedly set her sights higher and that Andrew may have been the original target. But Fergie has always been territorial about titles. She lost hers, and she was not about to let another woman take a position that connected directly back to her. Insiders claim Fergie blocked access, monitored interactions, and ensured Meghan did not get too close to Andrew. And that might explain everything. Why Meghan shifted her focus, why Harry became the new path, why the relationship moved at lightning speed. Because if Andrew was inaccessible, Harry was vulnerable. He was young enough to be flattered, lonely enough to be susceptible, damaged enough to be romantic, alienated enough to be convinced. And Eugenie, intentionally or not, provided the bridge. What looked like friendship became access, which became opportunity, which became marriage. But here is the key. If Eugenie, Fergie, and Andrew all knew Meghan before Harry, then they all hold pieces of her past that the public has never seen, and that makes them dangerous. When Prince Andrew was pushed out of public life, he expected others to fall with him. But according to sources close to his circle, what angers him most is that Meghan, who was allegedly in the same social spaces, on the same yacht circuits, and connected to the same people, walked away untouched. Those familiar with Andrew's mind say he feels betrayed by the palace, abandoned by the institution he defended, and furious that someone he believes was part of his world is now shielded by the very people who cast him aside. And here is where things become dangerous. Sources claim Andrew has told friends that he has information, memories, and details about Meghan that have never been revealed. Not rumors, but interactions. Not speculation, but experience. And those same insiders say Andrew believes that if he speaks, the narrative surrounding Meghan would collapse instantly. Why hasn't he spoken yet? Because Andrew knows one thing. The moment he talks, he cannot go back. He cannot return to royal life. He cannot reclaim reputation. He cannot escape consequences. But here is the chilling part. People close to him say he has reached a point where he has nothing left to lose. And a man with nothing left to lose is the most unpredictable figure in any royal equation. While Andrew wrestles with resentment, Harry is allegedly wrestling with something far more personal: betrayal. According to sources familiar with the situation, Harry has recently come face to face with information he refused to believe for years. They say Harry now accepts that Meghan had a past inside royal circles, that she allegedly knew Andrew before him, and that she never told him the full truth. Insiders claim Harry has been left shaken, disgusted, and emotionally shattered by what he now believes he was shielded from. And the consequences are visible. He barely travels to the UK. He avoids family gatherings. He appears isolated in California. Those close to him say the realization has hit him hard, that he sacrificed his home, his titles, his identity, and his family, not for love, but for a lie. The whispers suggest he feels trapped. Trapped by marriage, trapped by image, trapped by the children, trapped by his own decisions. And here is the deepest irony. Harry once believed he was rescuing Meghan from the royal family. Now, sources claim he realizes the royal family tried to rescue him from her. If Andrew is bitter and Harry is broken, then why is the world silent? Why is the press pretending none of this exists? Why is the palace acting like there is nothing to see? According to insiders, the answer is simple. This scandal does not just touch Andrew. It does not just touch Meghan. It touches the monarchy itself. If Meghan's alleged links came to light, the palace would have to answer impossible questions. Why did they allow the marriage? Why did they not vet her past? Why did they protect her image? Why did they sacrifice Andrew but save her? And, most dangerous of all, did they know and hide it? Sources say the institution fears that exposing Meghan now would prove that they covered for her then. And if that became public, the monarchy would face humiliation not seen since the abdication crisis. So, the press stays silent, the palace stays guarded, the story stays buried, but the people who know the truth are still alive, and they are growing impatient. Every royal scandal in history has followed a pattern. First comes the whisper, then comes the denial, then comes the silence, then comes the drip, then comes the flood. We are no longer in the silence. We are in the drip. Sources say there are photographs. Sources say there are witnesses. Sources say there are dates, names, faces, and locations. And the people who hold those pieces are not fringe figures. They are Andrew, Fergie, Eugenie. 3 people on the outside. 3 people with nothing to lose. 3 people who watched Meghan enter before Harry ever did. Those inside royal circles say the pressure is building, not slowly but rapidly, and that the palace is terrified because they know that once the first crack appears, the entire facade will collapse. This is not about gossip. This is not about fashion. This is not about interviews or podcasts. This is about access, proximity, power, and the past Meghan pretended never existed. And according to people familiar with the situation, there is a belief, a growing belief, that the truth cannot stay buried much longer because scandals do not disappear, they wait. And this one is waiting for the moment when silence becomes impossible. So the question is no longer did something happen. The question now is when will it surface, and when it does, it will not just reshape Meghan's story. It will not just expose Andrew. It will not just crush Harry. It may rewrite the future of the monarchy itself.